Hey Felicity, how you
Hello,
doing
Emma.
today?
I'm really, really well, thank you. Looking forward
Good.
to this Crossroads Cafe with our guest, Joanna McGeera, today. Jo's been a friend of mine for a long time, and we used to fly together as long haul cabin crew at British Airways. So she's made a major transition, which I never ever thought she would do. Jo, do you remember you'd said you would always be strapped to a jumbo jet for the remainder of your life, really, your business career, didn't you? You were like, no, this is my job. I love it. I'm never going to change. And you've
No,
had a massive change, haven't you?
you're right. You're right. Hi, Felicity. Hi, Emma. Thanks for inviting
Hi
me.
Joe.
You're welcome.
Good to have you here. Thanks for coming along.
I think the only reason I left was because they got rid of Jumbo.
Yeah. How long
Quite
had you flown
distracted.
for in the end?
But darling, how long did I fly for?
Yeah, in the end. It was over
Uh,
30 years, wasn't it?
30 years. Yeah,
Yeah,
I absolutely loved it.
Wow.
yeah.
Absolutely loved
Wow.
it. Yes, but if I'd
That's been
stayed,
it's been
I'd be in the desert by now, I think.
Where
yeah.
they've kind of.
Jumbo part, so.
It's been a massive change for you, what you're doing now compared to your flying days.
Well, you say that, but actually almost everything maps onto flying. I'm still meeting the public. I'm still getting them food and drink, although
Yeah.
this time I get to keep the profits of everything.
Yeah.
So
Nice. Sounds good. Sounds good.
So
I
tell
don't,
us about you're now running a cafe with Russell, aren't you? Am I right thinking it's the Cafe Edgerton Park in Bexhill-on-Sea?
yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they called it a kiosk. It's you can't come in and eat it as a takeaway, but we
Mhm.
changed it we changed the name just so people could see it was under new management and
Mhm.
wanted to just raise its profile in social media generally. So it was just to get a new name for that. But yes, we are both running that, and it was an amazing opportunity that somebody wanted to get rid of the lease. These things, if they're in the right location, they can be gold mines.
Yeah,
But
amazing.
but you do still have to do it properly. So, but we brought up. It was mostly me at the beginning. Russell's
Mhm.
very much there when we're working. We're keeping it closed at the moment and lockdown,
Mm.
but it was just about getting the good customer service, retaining those skills that I learned at British Airways that they did
Yeah.
extremely well, and transferring that to a cafe. And I think it's fair enough to say that the public are kind of blown away with it, really, because
Wow.
we're not, we're treating them like they're in club or first,
Yes.
a madam, and you can't help it. I still call them passengers. They're not even customers.
Love that. I love
I,
that.
I tried to learn, and in the end, I just gave up. I was like, oh, my cafe's got passengers. The end.
I love that though.
Yeah, it's tricky, isn't it? I mean, I think, from our era of flying, Jo, we were so we had a really great contract, didn't we? Had a great lifestyle. We were very loyal to the company and passionate about what we did. And even though I've left for 11 years now,
Wow.
I still say, when I talk about British Airways, I still say we, because there is that degree of it's just part of our DNA, isn't it? And
Mm.
I think you're saying around the customer service, I think a lot of people just don't fully appreciate what excellent customer service is. So I can imagine that it's mapped really well over into you running your
We brought
own.
our own staff. I mean, that was a natural transition as well. So when I started, oh my gosh, they walked out on the Thursday and I walked in on the Friday. And I was lucky enough to have two lovely, lovely ladies who are at university, and they were just on the tail end of their summer holidays, who agreed to come and work with me. And I leaned on them very heavily in that first week because I just picked up the same menu, the same products, the same everything. But it just wasn't me. It was horrendous. We had the most hideous coffee machine. You push the button and, and sort of like the cup would fall down and put the coffee in there. That's not coffee I would personally drink. So, we had to change things up really quickly. That's where Russell was brilliant, because he was like, no, we've got to change this immediately. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Can I be a barista? We've got we can't serve this, love. It's hideous.
Yeah.
But it was, it was a model. It worked. I can't say they, they're a very successful family at what they do. And, one of the things I loved, they sold really cheap ice cream, and that was nice to the people in the park. It's a very mixed bag that come to us. You don't cost or cafe. If you were flying British Airways, that was a bit cheap from goats, just by who got on board.
Yeah.
But no, we've changed it up, and it's fine. I think we can cater for a lot of different groups. That is very much like flying. So some people do want their oat milk flat white, and they're very interested in the little homemade cakes, and other people want a Pepsi Max and a Mars bar, and they're no interest. So we serve those things. You can't be snobby about it. It's business.
So I've got a question, Jo, how did the opportunity come about? Did you go out looking for it? Was it like you had this idea that you wanted to set up a cafe, or was it that it came to you? Was it sort of forced upon you a little bit?
This is one of the most interesting thing for me, was that people always spoke all the time, what would they do if they didn't fly? And I just thought, I have no idea. I've got no skills. I haven't got anything. I mean, I've got a degree in psychology, but that's not madly useful. You'd need to do more with it. But I just thought, wow, I don't like doing anything. I like reading, walking, going to cafes, being with my dog. And there was the answer, and I never even saw it.
Amazing. Yeah.
Going to cafes, and you don't have to be original just to succeed in business. You don't have to be original. Just have
very
to
nicely said. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to reinvent the wheel. It's people come to us, we get so many compliments. Try to do it really, really well.
Yeah.
So, but I had heard of it. A friend of mine, our old neighbours they still have actually exactly the same little kiosk on Bexhill Seafront. And my sister, when she was younger, went to work with them as a Saturday girl. And I remember her coming home saying, oh my gosh, it's a gold mine. They've sent their 2 kids to private school just from this cafe. They both work there. And we were really surprised. And so that was about 15 years ago. And I remember looking with my sister, we're like, God, wouldn't it be great? We must get one of these cafes on a seafront somewhere. They're not to be had.
No.
You just can't get them. And I never gave it another thought, carried on flying. And then it was at the time of being furloughed, and it was through my husband, actually. It was his connection. He flies the British Airways, but he's also a motorcycle instructor. And it was his boss that also, with his partner, they have a string of these little cafes and kiosks, and it was too much for them. They both, it is hard work. They both had health problems, and they had one they wanted to get rid of. And Russell said, oh, I think my wife might be interested. I think she's thinking of leaving. And yeah, I never would have thought of leaving. But the fact that I've been sat at home for 6 months, I discovered I really, really like being sat at home.
Oh, wow.
Night flights. I love being with my dogs. I love routine. I'm quite a boring creature. And I had done, I'd done it pretty well. I'd had 30.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I want this. I really do want to make a change.
Well, that's wonderful, isn't it? Because that's where it kind of lined up for you, isn't it? Is that you had the best of British Airways, and I know when we've talked about it, have no regrets, loved every minute, but it was time to go, wasn't it? And it's always much better to leave something with good feelings and good memories, isn't it, rather than being bitter and twisted and frustrated. So
they have a hell of a job ahead of them now. I mean, running just hammered. It's totally. Not survive. It's a very, very different experience right now, and I'm really glad I walked off the aircraft when I did. I wish them all the best, but I don't want to be part of it at all. There's massive cost cutting. It's very different. It's very different for the crew. They're flying to Hong Kong and turning around and coming straight back home again at the moment.
Oh God!
How long is that flight? Is that a long flight?
About 13 hours, isn't it?
Yeah, it would be a shift on an aircraft.
And how much? 8-hour time change?
Yeah, but you don't.
Yeah, this is just straight round. That's just.
I'd have to say, I think that's with they're bringing PPE and cargo, because aircraft cargo is actually at an absolute premium at the moment because of course, aircraft
into the country.
So,
poor them. So I just wanted to jump back a little bit, and you said about, I loved what you said about, you're not being snobby. You've really worked out what your market is, and it's not all premium, and it's not all, pound shop brigade either. And I think it's fascinating, isn't it, when people, and like you said, you didn't feel that you had any skills, and yet cabin crew have got extraordinary people skills, really great at communication, really great at working with different dynamics of social, you know, levels of people, and just being flexible and adaptable. So that's obviously really
I had no idea how good I was. I don't know if that sounds
Yay! I'd love to hear you say that.
That is
Jo.
amazing. And it's lovely because these skills are so transferable, but we don't think they are, do we? We have all these limiting beliefs in this, oh, I can't do this because I haven't got this, or I can't do that because I haven't got that. But you've got all these skills, all these experiences that have translated into something amazing.
I know Felicity left and she was going on about how marvellous we all were. And when you're surrounded by marvellous people, you just think, oh, I don't do anything different to the others. You know, this is all normal and easy and obvious. And then it's suddenly you're thrown into a different, sorry, dogs.
Your dogs that you love.
Thrown into a different environment. And you realise, God, no, it's not easy and obvious, because we did have... we retained one Saturday boy that I like very much, and we've done some training with him. But everybody else really worked for British Airways. So another couple of friends have come to help out. There was me, there was Russell. And the way we just plotted this cafe was the same way that we would work on the aircraft. So we realised quickly that you had to have working positions. And I know that sounds really it's like ridiculous, really. Just someone asked for coffee, but no, because it's really busy. When we open, we have you immediately, especially weekend and on nice days, not if it's raining. So we called it front of house. There was somebody being welcoming. Hello, how are you today? We've got a new carrot cake this morning. And it all sounds really obvious, but it's no cafe.
It's not. No.
No,
because you don't get that when you go into every cafe. It wouldn't be the case, would it? And it's that, like you say, Felicity, it's that customer service that has been drilled into you that you know you're offering, and people are going, wow, this is an amazing experience.
Absolutely. And that's the word, isn't it, Jo? Because it was drilled into us, you know, high level customer service at its best. It's not just service, it's not transaction. You're creating an experience for your customer.
One of the first things we did, they sell duck food, right? It's by the duck pond. It's Edgerton Park Cafe. There's a duck pond, and they sell duck food. And it just is in a paper bag, and you want a bag of duck food, and it's £1. And I thought, oh, it's quite a lot of money for the duck food. It's a bit of a markup. But, you know, Pitt's like feeding the ducks, and it was a food that the seagulls don't eat. So it mattered that just the ducks have it. But immediately, Russell and I thought, well, how can we make this more of an experience? We want this cafe to be a destination. So we ordered stickers with a little picture of a duck. We immediately came up with a logo. It's on our aprons. And it just says, I fed the ducks at Edgerton Park Cafe.
Fantastic.
And there's no extra charge. We didn't increase the cost. We met the cost of the stickers. And people love it. Absolutely.
Yeah, of course they do. Yeah, the kids love it. They want to get their sticker. Genius. Genius. And like you say, it's so simple. Some things, we overthink things. And even a transition, like when, you know, the podcast is Crossroads Cafe, we're at a crossroads, and we sometimes overthink it and like, oh, we can't do that. Like you say, we can't make that transition. We can't go down that route. I haven't got that. I'm not able for that. But sometimes we just overthink things. And when you simplify it, it's just perfect.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm sure we're not the first people to have given out a sticker with something. Like I said, I don't think you have to be original. I don't think that matters. It feels to me, living in 2021, that almost everything has been invented and happened. But what you can do is simply be the best at the thing that you're doing.
Absolutely. Yes. That's a great unique selling point, isn't it? We're the best at what we do, rather than having to be diverse or something new and fancy. Because as you said,
I'm the expert.
All
the time we have so many compliments.
It really. I was checking the website to see to get the name of the cafe right before you came on today, and there's a little review, I don't know if you've seen it. It said, I'm very disappointed that the Egerton Park Cafe is still closed. Can't wait for it to reopen.
There and comment.
But then, you know, again, you're being responsible, because to do it well, you couldn't do it well at the moment and observe social distancing effectively, could you?
the tricky thing, sorry not to go off track, but the park has fixed tables and chairs outside the cafe, so they're cemented in like benches. We put out our own tables and chairs, which we obviously stopped doing a long time ago, like lockdowns back, but we were doing it from the hatch, but we were getting so many queues, people weren't distancing. Although we are outside, and the last time we were open, people could still take tables and meet up, and now they cannot. And friends in Horsham, their park operated on a similar thing. It was technically takeaway, but people were using it as an outdoor cafe and meeting place, and the police asked them to close. But we don't want to be in that position. We don't want to be the bench police, and it's really sad because we're quite bored. But it didn't seem right. The intensive cares were full to bursting. It would have been so wrong to have opened at this point.
Well, that's very commendable for you to take that attitude. It's not always just all about money, is it?
I think we would shut down anyway, to be honest. I think you'd have lasted the first weekend, because the first weekend was a really beautiful day, and we just thought, all of that money went we'd be by now anyway, so I don't think we'll ever get this time off again. And as Russell said,
absolutely,
I think we'll be sick of the sight of that place by the end of summer.
Make the most of it now, I suppose. Do the best you can with what you got.
So Jo, what's been some of the biggest challenges that you faced making the transition?
I think the biggest challenge was, me, Felicity, when I was at work, I never went for promotion. I've had promotion in my life, and it was in the brownies, and that was their brownies plimsolls. As they left the pack, you automatically got shoved up into becoming a seconder. So I'd led the imps to glory, I think. But then nothing. I'd never done anything like that. And I think the biggest challenges were, oh my gosh, walking in and realizing I was in charge. That never happened. I didn't, I had very, very lovely university students working with me. They didn't look like they were going to riot or cause a wildcat strike, but all the same, they were like, how do you want this done? And I had to have an opinion. And the Saturday boy, when he turned up, was obviously very disgruntled that there was a change of management. He's since described me as the best boss in the world.
But that's so nice.
He just hunched into his hoodie and pulled out his mobile phone, and I just thought, oh my gosh, I've got to people manage.
Got to tell him he can't do that.
But there's only me, and I'm not paying him to do this. So he did a little bit of customer service training, but he's excellent now and really valuable to me. It was working with the menu. I just picked it straight up and thought, I'll just keep going with it, and realizing I hated what they were serving and wasn't all, and it wouldn't be the kind of thing I would want to eat. So it was suddenly finding myself in charge of staff training, coming up with an actual product that I wanted to sell. Dealing with the public was the easy part. That bit I knew that was always talk to people, but suddenly just being a manager, I had never managed anything. I'd shied away from all of it, and suddenly I had to manage. That was definitely the biggest challenge. I mean, there's horrible scenes when I went up to the cash and carry and loaded my trolley and that's a whole thing, going in there and loaded my trolley with the wrong drink, and I had to take it all off and put the new drinks on, and then realised I'd still got it wrong and it was the other drinks, and I just thought, and then the day the horrible coffee machine broke, so it decided it for us. It just leaked it, gave up, started. And I just thought, I kept thinking, you need humour. And I just kept thinking, this will be a funny story one day. This will be a funny story one day. And just focusing on that, really.
Well done. Do you know, I'm so proud of you, because you described yourself as the accidental entrepreneur, didn't you?
Yeah.
And the fact that you
I love
that. Isn't it wonderful?
Brilliant. Yeah, really good.
You never wanted to leave that jumbo jet, and here you are running your own business, choosing your own product, training your team. And I mean, part of that is, I know why you'll be such a great manager, great boss, because your ex-crew. And I have to say, the the teamwork of long haul cabin crew of British Airways. I can't speak for, well, I flew for Cali for before BA, but there's no teamwork like it on the planet, is it? Where a whole bunch of people you've never met before in your life all rock up and just get on with the job, do it with humour, as you say. I mean, at 3 o'clock in the morning when someone's being a pain in the butt, you have to have a sense of humour.
Yes.
So well done, Jo. I'm so proud of you.
The one funny thing as well that it did strike me was I taught them all very early on how to handle a complaint, because British Airways is, I know we're talking about this massive corporation, they got it wrong sometimes. I get all that, but broadly, I think, you know, they trained us very, very well, and hopefully we're right most of the time. But when somebody complains, the first words out of your mouth, I'm saying there's a formula here and I'm going to teach it to you, that you listen, you apologize, you ask questions, you suggest an alternative, and then you go with what the customer tells you they want, you know, within reason. I said, we're not about to start giving away free everythings, but if you think, you know, I told them what things I was happy for them to give away for free. Mainly duck food, actually, and biscuits. But anyway, so they all practice this. We practice on each other. They love it. They feel more confident. You know, they're like, oh, this is really good. This is really clever. I said, yeah. You know, doesn't have to be embarrassed. You can turn it around. It can be a great opportunity. It's genuinely a lucky chance when someone comes back to complain. You've got a chance to turn around, and you're going to end up feeling like that. Anyway, so I teach them that. 2-3 months pass. And I'm just standing, gazing out of my little hatch, waiting for the next customer. And a woman comes determinedly walking towards the cafe, clutching one of our coffee cups. And I thought, oh, it's a complaint. Oh, I'll handle this. I said, oh, I'll get her. I'm thinking, oh, what was wrong? And as she came up, she just said, oh, it's absolutely lovely, that green tea. Would you mind very much? Is it naughty? Could I just have some more hot water? I went, no problem at all. Of course, let me do that for you. And then off she went. And I assumed it was a complaint. And I thought, actually, no one's complained. No one's complained just 3 months. There's nothing to complain about.
Amazing.
Because you're anticipating your customers' needs. You're being warm and wonderful.
But we are a small outfit. I'm not running.
No, but it's still dealing with the general public, isn't it? And it's very easy to make mistakes with that if you're not putting their needs first. And you know, that's the thing, as you say, with British Airways, we were taught, weren't we, you know, particularly in the premium cabin,
company,
hello Pippa, to anticipate the customer's needs. And they shouldn't, you know, particularly in first, they shouldn't even have to press the call bell. We should have been always ahead of what they were going to ask. And
of course, towards the end, you know, I'd work in the premium cabin, so the standard was much higher. You just had time.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
That was
amazing. So you spoke about some of the challenges. What about the biggest pleasures? What would you say are the biggest pleasures from making this transition?
I love that I still work with the public. I love that. I don't feel that I've lost so much of my job, because I do love meeting people, and especially in lockdown, when I'm super aware that the average person is about, you know, 3 people legitimately. I know I have a cafe this lockdown, but that was really, we felt so lucky. We've made so many friends. There were so many people we could continue to meet, and that felt really. But I think the biggest reward is just that, because it's small, because it's me, because I'm in charge, you know, with Russell, we can just move really, really quickly. You could decide Monday morning, someone comes to you and says, oh, do you sell Red Bush tea? And you go, no. But by the time the second person has said it, you go, yeah, but we'll get some. Yeah. And the next time you go into work, you can go and get a box that afternoon.
Yeah.
And you can adapt the product. I don't mean, you know, where somebody could ask something obscure, we wouldn't necessarily stock it. But if you want chocolate cake, by the end of the week, you can have homemade chocolate cake. You don't have to go through any layers of management. And
it's empowering then, making your own decisions.
Yeah. And I've said that to staff as well. I said, don't think that what we're doing now, I said, I have never run a cafe before. So if you see something, you think, oh, that's a terrible idea, why are they doing it like that? Speak up. Absolutely. Tell me. You know, there was something I changed the other day, and I don't know if it's Google. I think there's one of the big companies have a phrase, fail fast. Trust me. Take your ego out of it. If something doesn't work, it doesn't work. It's fine. You tried it. Move on. And it was something I did where I mixed up how something was presented on the counter, and it involved moving a fridge and all sorts. And 2 minutes later, I said to Aaron, "This is rubbish, isn't it?" And he went, "Yeah." So we move it back. Yeah. But,
I think,
that he was able to agree, and as a 16-year-old, he, "No, whatever you decide. I don't want that from him. I want to hear what he thinks." As much as I do. So that's the best. I think that you can get rid of stupid layers. You don't, we're not yes men to each other. Which I think happens in a corporation. You're
afraid of speaking up, aren't you? Or there's too many layers, or you're afraid of speaking up, which they ask you to do, and then you're like, "Oh, I've spoken up and now I'm thrown under the bus, or I've been marked out as a troublemaker or something." So no, it is wonderful, isn't it, from that point?
The size is completely different, but not to me, because it was only ever going to work, still me going to work. But that's the best thing about it. Definitely, I'm in charge. All that power. I didn't
Lovely.
And the lesson in that is that you can change it, can't you? Like, the lesson is there if something doesn't work, or if you can add something. It's within your power to make a change.
Yes. No, it was just that. I love that part. Yeah.
So you've talked about using humour to get you through things when it's like, oh, do you have? I know you're a big fan of Gretchen Rubin, who's wonderful about her work is around creating just everyday happiness, isn't it?
Yes.
So
habits.
Habits. Yeah. So what do you do to keep yourself happy and cheerful when things are a little bit and do you have any kind of habits and practices that you use on a daily or regular basis to keep you this is in fail fast as well, really. I do wear makeup to work. I think it just makes me feel better about myself. That's I didn't think it mattered at the beginning, and then I realized it did. It just made me feel more professional, more put together. It's not masses of makeup, but I try and look nice. I make an effort with what I wear. I don't just pull on a pair of jeans and a t-shirt. I do make an effort. Always makeup and earrings, and often a dress. And then we had nice aprons that sort of all complemented in different colours. It's about organisation. If you don't do it, it's really sticky, because if there's no cake one day, that just looks ridiculous. So the habits, it's kind of banal, but it's just keeping that you need to top up stock, that you need to go and buy stock. Nothing terribly interesting. You need to be on top of the paperwork. It's definitely easier to do 10 minutes when you get home than to make up 2 hours, in a quiet evening. When by the time you've forgotten much of it. So it's what you do every day that matters more than what you do once in a while. I think is one of the and it's it's be consistent, really. But I did learn that the hard way. Okay, tell us.
Oh, just the books. I just had a stack of receipts that I had been chucking in a pile. And I've been to the accountant, of course. We'd been to see the accountant and to ask advice. How do we need to set this up? What do you want from us? And they just it was reasonably simple. Just, I've got no intention of doing my own tax return. So it was just keep the receipts, keep them in date order, money coming in, money going out. And I'll get around to that. By the time I felt like getting around to it, 6 weeks had passed.
Yeah.
Oh.
I couldn't do it hours.
I can imagine.
You need to be on top of it. And you don't have to. That's another thing. You don't have to do everything. I don't have to write my own tax return. I don't have to get to that.
Absolutely.
Very, very simple. I just have a spike file now, and if you put the receipt on the file when you've got the receipt, it will naturally be in date order. It can't be anything.
Nice. Very simplify again, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. And if you can't do it, get help. Get somebody else to do it. I can't write a return. I'm clueless at maths. Clueless. But,
you told me something else, that you were running the cafe. It was all wonderful, and then you got to the point where you were really like full on, wasn't it? Everything was the cafe, and then you and Russell both got ill, didn't you? Some lurgy.
Oh, yeah.
tell us the learning that you got from that, because I think it was a really valuable one. You couldn't go in, could you?
It occurred to us that this could happen. So we were both struck down with a stomach bug. No idea what it was, but we both had it. And leaving, to be honest, leaving the floor the bathroom was on was a risk. Never mind leaving the house and going to a cafe. We were both in bed, moaning, and we assumed the cafe would have to close. And I had two of the staff who booked to work that day texting and saying, "Oh, we're still happy to go in." One of them had a set of keys, or she came over to collect a set of keys, and we're like, "Oh my gosh, you sure you want to do this?" They're like, "We can't wait. Yeah, this would be great."
Oh,
Yeah,
amazing.
what to do? I mean, it's not difficult work. I don't mean to, we're not brain surgeons here, but we just try and do a small thing well. Anyway, we were blown away at the end of the day that we'd spent in bed. They'd gone off and made money on our behalf.
Amazing. But that's obviously because you've got systems in place and they just followed the systems, right?
Yeah, and
They knew what they needed to do.
It was all very one of them was on furlough from British Airways, just helping out while she wasn't flying. So she was cool, and I'd made little recipes and things I'd done in the cafe. I took out everything extraneous. So there's a recipe for making the iced coffee, for instance. So I typed it up, printed it off, laminated it, put it next to the station, make the iced coffee, right, pick this up, do that. It was all very straightforward. You could have walked in and done it yourself.
Yeah.
We just made it so that we got rid of all clutter, because when we moved in there was an awful lot of clutter. So there's no clutter. You've got the tools exactly that you need. Which is probably a bit like flying. You don't carry stuff around for the hell of it.
Absolutely.
Not got the space.
Absolutely.
Wait, cost you in fuel.
And you're doing your handover, aren't you, as well, effectively? Yeah. To the next crew coming on board. So this is where everything is. This is how,
the opening up routine, a closing down routine, all these things are typed up, laminated, and put in a special place. And they're good prompts.
Very organised, isn't it?
I realise you've got something. It's just on the list, so just check the list. So I realised, that was.
But I think it's a great lesson for an entrepreneur, isn't it? That you don't have to be doing everything yourself all the time. You can delegate.
Yeah, I didn't. I mean, all this stuff is terribly obvious if you're in business, but it wasn't obvious to me, and I discover it all by myself.
But then I think, I was going to say it's not obvious. It's a learning curve.
Obvious. No. And when it's your baby, you kind of, there's that element of, oh, can anyone do it as well as me? And that's where growth comes in, isn't it? It's where you can actually step back and trust people to have autonomy.
I was thrilled. I was in no way without me. I was just absolutely delighted it went well without me. This is
brilliant.
Now and then we thought, oh my gosh, we can have days off.
Yes.
Fantastic. We can actually stay away from it. I do love being there, and so does Russell. So and we're happy to work together most of the time.
Oh wow.
And to be in charge, and the person who's not in charge, shut up.
Very nice. Very nice.
No, it's brilliant.
So what's next? What's next for the cafe? Have you got plans what you're looking to do moving forwards, or would you like to, I don't know, branch out a bit and maybe buy another one, or have you got any ideas like that?
We actually could. We have an old fire station in St Leonard's. It's possible in a few years' time that the ground floor would become available. Somebody has rented it, is letting it for a while. It's kind of going to see him out on his career. But it might be a few years' time we can turn it into a gallery and a cafe.
Very nice.
When we were talking about it, was only an idea, but we immediately said, oh, yeah, great. Well, we can run the cafe because we know what we're doing. Yeah. And that surprised me and didn't surprise me at the same time. I sometimes listen to words that come out of my mouth and think, who is she?
Who is this new person?
Oh, yeah. Because you just do this and this. Yeah. So it's, setting stuff up. I can completely see it. We borrowed an awful lot from other corporations as well, though. We would go into Cafe Nero and Costa Coffee. What have they got on display? What are they selling? What crisps is anyone selling? Why are they selling this? That? What does Walker's or Kettle Chips, what does it tell you about the establishment? What do you want people to see? Things. But you just look around, just use your eyes. You don't have to be original. You just have to be good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very
Yeah, I love
nice.
that.
Very nice. Well, unless you've kind of, Emma's got any other questions, or you've got anything you'd like to share, Joe, I think that's a really lovely phrase to leave it on. You don't have to be original, you just have to be good. And I think we can all remember that in our businesses. The more value we add to our customers, the more they're going to keep coming back and possibly leaving reviews to say, oh, when are you going to open again? Which is a lovely thing to hear, isn't it?
Try and rip people off. People aren't idiots.
No, absolutely. Absolutely.
Whatever. Oh, thank you very much. It's been great to talk to you.
Well, it's been a pleasure to have you on board. Thank you so much. And I think our listeners will really get value from you as an accidental entrepreneur, someone that hasn't been dreaming all their life of running their own business. I think it's really valuable to realise that, yes, anybody can do this. So not that, I don't mean it. Joe, you've done it, so anyone can do it. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. No, I think that I did love playing cafes when I was a kid. So it might be something you did as a child. That's the other place people always say to look, don't they? What made you happy 10 years old?
Yeah.
Probably to enjoy. Yeah.
So, wonderful.
Thank you, Joe. You've been fantastic.
So much, Joe, and it's been a pleasure to have you, and we'll catch up again really soon.
Lovely to chat
Joe.
to you.
Okay.
You take care.
Bye.
See you later. Bye.